Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from GiantBomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a Jurassic Park game that looks better than Trespasser, and our developers moving away from Unreal Engine. It's going to be a good one because we have Jan Ochoa on the show. Jan, how are you doing?
I forgot what day it was, Grub. It's one of those weeks.
Yeah, I'm really off kilter with that too. I don't know. What do you think it is? It's one of those weeks, I agree, but I don't know what is causing it.
I think it's because it's August and we're already halfway through August, and that's
That is
terrifying.
upsetting. Yes. Is Mars in retrograde?
I think it's Mercury is in retro J's. So
Okay,
they
that's
were
what it
able to
is.
go on one of
All the
those
J names are
sneaker
getting messed up.
websites.
Yeah.
Or that. Yeah.
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 Uh,
It's funny because again, this will enlighten a lot of folks into what I engage with on TikTok. But right before the show, I was pouring another cup of coffee, and then as I scroll on TikTok, this woman is just yelling at me that everything is going to be okay. And
yeah.
when someone yells at you in such an authoritative voice that you
Yeah.
just
Toxic
believe it.
positivity. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I'll get my head out of my butt. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's good because you got to be like jolted. It's like a human jumping kit.
Yes.
Like when you jump start a car. It feels good. I like it. I need that more frequently.
Also, I don't know why I was reminded of this. Maybe this is because I tuned in and watched the Next Lander Gang play through I'm in Love with Your Dead Grandmother.
I watched quite a bit of that as well.
I can't believe I relived that. And I was suddenly reminded of the not obsession, but the saga of nose torque in the GB offices.
Right.
Nose torque, for the folks that don't know, it's basically just smelling salts.
Smelling salts. I think I have smelling salts in my Amazon cart right now. So yeah. I don't think I've ever tried it for real. Maybe I have. I've played some sports in my life. I'm sure someone had it. Maybe I tried it. Did you end up trying the nose torque?
No, I remember Vinny. I don't know if Vinny brought it or he found it. It's more concerning if he found it.
It's weird if he found it.
Yeah, but in the old GB offices at the CBSI building, there was a lot of miscellaneous things. It could have been sent in a mailbag. But yeah, I had never tried smelling salts, and I don't know if I want to because I don't understand them.
Whatever happened to that bath salt thing? Remember in Florida, everyone doing the bath salts and like
Oh, the zombie
eating
people.
faces? Yeah, the zombie people, right? Yeah.
I don't want to say
What-
that the government in Florida was able to handle things, but maybe some other monstrosities had taken place and superseded the bath salts.
Yeah, that one seems the one that kind of like sorted itself out. I think it was like the drug people that, the ones that make and sell drugs were like, we actually can't have people knowing that some drugs do this. So
Yeah.
we're going to like self-police and go in there and put an end to this and take out some people.
We'll just put all
yeah.
the bad stuff in hand soap now, so it's okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then we got fentanyl. So that's just what took over. All right. Let's explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb. We have a website, giantbomb.com. You could check out the new version of that website if you go to giantbomb.com/join and become a premium member, and then go over to enormousexplosive.com.
Yes,
I always want to
sir.
say explosivediarrhea.com. That's just a very different thing. Enormousexplosive.com, and you can check that out. Help out Chuck, who is rebuilding the website for our new era over here. And there's a tip box. He says it's working well so far. People's suggestions have been very helpful. So more of that. And if you want to participate, if you want to be a part of this, there's still some time left. Giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member. Also gets you things like ad-free shows, a bunch of other cool stuff. Let's explain what we do on this show. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings, or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Battlefield 6 Open Beta Weekend 2 goes live with some issues, but still eclipses 300,000 users on Steam. This is from Eddie McCoo at GameSpot. Battlefield 6's open beta just kicked off its second weekend, but there were some issues out of the gate that Battlefield Studios is working to address. To begin with, the developer acknowledged ongoing matchmaking issues for some players on certain playlists. We're actively investigating this and working towards a solve as soon as possible. Hang tight while we dig into this, the studio said. For this issue, Battlefield Studios said it recommends people first ensure that they are running the most recent client update. People using the EA app can try to fix the issue by pressing the repair button. The team continues to assess this, the developer said. So a little bit of a PSA. It was like, 'cause I know this top story because big game. A lot of people are going to be playing it this weekend. If you are having headaches with it, that's a little bit of a PSA. Try these things. They're also trying to find some solves, but it's a beta. These kinds of things are definitely going to happen. Additionally, DLSS and DLAA on PC is unavailable right now, and Battlefield Studios has identified the issue and is working on a fix. So if you notice that as well, they have a fix in the works. And then, once again, 300,000 users immediately before the weekend. It doesn't sound like the interest is dying down. It just sounds like it's got that momentum right now, and it's carrying it probably through toward launch, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Just for the diehard Battlefield fans out there, just because it's been a hot minute, Grubb, since they've had something to latch onto. And I have to imagine that there has to be, for as popular as Call of Duty still is, there has to be some amount of fatigue with that audience, that they're looking to latch on to something else because, I don't know, maybe Fortnite doesn't exactly appeal to them, and these other shooters aren't necessarily grabbing them either. I do think it is loser behavior, though, to cheat in a beta.
Weird. Yeah, it's a very strange thing.
You get nothing out of this. What are you, a dweeb?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. It's just never even occurred to me, Jan, to go find one of these cheater apps. It's more fun to get at least a little bit good at the game. Yeah, my KDR, my K-death ratio in Call of Duty hovers around 1 to 1.25. Would it be fun to see that number go up? Yeah, but it's more fun to actually do it I want to play the video game. It's so strange. Dweeb loser behavior. They are trying to address that stuff with the cheating with a bunch of extra things. It's just not going to work. So it's like, it's like the age verification thing that's happening around the world right now, where this is only going to inconvenience people who are following the rules, and then anyone who wants to get around it will have a million ways to bypass that stuff, and they won't have to deal with it. You mentioned Call of Duty and the maybe being in a lull. Have you heard anyone in any sort of circle that you're in or online talking about Black Ops 7 in any way? It is just, I mean, now they did just start the marketing campaign, so if people were going to talk about it, probably would be right about now. But even then, it just doesn't seem to it doesn't have any pop to it at all.
Yeah, it's fairly radio silent, Grubb, from any initial hype with Call of Duty right now. I think Battlefield 6 has earned its spot in the cultural zeitgeist as of right now. I think in terms of folks that only play military style FPSs, Battlefield is definitely occupying that brain space. Like, normie friends aren't talking about Call of Duty at all. It's like just trying to figure out how to get into this beta and what the weekends look like and what the maps are going to be. No hype for a Call of Duty. If anything, I'm hearing more rumblings from friends of thinking about getting back into Helldivers because of this rumored Halo stuff.
Yeah, I you know what? We should use that as an excuse as well. One of my algorithms, Jan, other than ladies yelling at me to feel better about myself, is a lot of Helldivers 2 stuff. And I've not really played much since around the time of launch. We maybe checked in on it one more time after that. I did not play much of it on my own. It's definitely one of those games where it's like, I'm glad to have this job to have an excuse to play it. It's like, well, let's do that again, because I do want to play this game again. It's so cinematic looking, so cool. And all of our moments, we weren't great at it. They still felt that way. It still felt very cool and cinematic. So Yeah, that's where I'm definitely with you on Helldivers 2 right now.
Yeah, it like Helldivers 2 always had like that immersive sim like feel of like anything can happen because anything
Yeah.
could happen. And each run is pretty different, especially depending on the team comp that you have rolling into each encounter. Because like Mike could handle something differently than Dan would handle something,
Yeah.
or like Sean would actually be efficient and help take care of things. And then there's Christian.
And then there's Christian. Exactly.
Parentheses positive.
Of course. We all know. We get it. Next story. Bandai Namco's new game engine is full steam ahead. This is from My Nintendo News. Not a ton of info here, but a little bit. Bandai Namco has provided an update to fans on its Twitter account about its new proprietary game engine and seems development is in yes, it seems development is in full steam ahead mode. The company revealed that its developers are currently being trained on the new game engine, which was first announced in 2019. The company wanted to make its own video game engine rather than rely on third-party game development software like Unreal. The new title game engine will allow large-scale development, including massive open-world games. Sorry, there were some typos in there. Yeah, okay. So mostly this is very inside baseball, but I do like wonder like where we are at like in terms of how developers are feeling about this because there's a lot of there are like a lot of factors in like how people probably feel about these various engines. If they are easy to use and they enable a bunch of stuff and they do become like the standard at a publisher and you can kind of rely on that job being there. And I'm like kind of thinking of a Capcom in this instance,
Sure.
or maybe like a Nintendo, right? If you are, and Nintendo uses Unreal Engine sometimes, but if you are at Nintendo and you're learning the Breath of the Wild engine, the engine that was partially powered by what was happening over at Monolith, and like you're like, okay, learning this is going to pay off because I'm going to work here for the rest of my life. Maybe same with Capcom. But if you're not in one of those positions, you probably want to learn Unreal because that's the most transferable skill. That's from the
Yeah.
developer side.
Yeah,
From
yeah.
the publisher side, we still know the like maybe the biggest motivating factor here is like if you work with your own engine, you probably don't have to give 5% of your revenue to Epic or something like that. Again, the numbers are all over the place. I don't fully understand the business model, but I remember them being like, "Hey, we're going to give you back that 5% if you release your game on Epic Game Store exclusively." So it was probably around that number. Um, and they don't want to pay that money, so they want to have their own engine. And yet it also feels like maybe it is time to like have control of your own destiny on this side a little bit because if everyone moves to Unreal, everyone is sort of hamstrung by the exact same failings of that engine. And right now we're seeing that's like, yeah, Unreal is supposed to be pretty good open world, not as good at open world games as maybe we thought it was going to be.
Right.
A lot of Unreal games struggle with that. Now, a lot of engines struggle with that, but Unreal games specifically do seem to struggle with trying to get open world games to run properly. So maybe you can get a better advantage in the marketplace if your engine can handle some stuff more, better than what the Unreal Engine can do. So it's like I can see like all of these things, the push and pull of all the reasons to go one way or the other. But does it feel like maybe we're in a moment where people are like looking around, being like, we don't all have to be on Unreal, or is this just like an anomaly?
Uh, it feels like a little bit of both, Grub.
Yeah.
My worry with Bandai Namco is that, you know, building your own engine from the ground up means that only people internally are going to be familiar with the engine, so skills aren't as transferable in terms of getting external help. Like Bandai Namco may not be able to reach out to like a third party, an external studio to assist with development stuff or like port stuff under like the Bandai Namco name. So that's a little bit worrying that development time could ramp up. Then again, you look at the types of games that Bandai Namco puts out, and then maybe Unreal just wasn't serving them that well for the types of games they wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's overkill. Maybe they like know exactly what they need and they can produce that. Bandai Namco, a pretty big publisher. People in chat are rightfully pointing out you got to have a lot of games to sort of justify the investment into making a engine like this. And I think Bandai Namco can probably justify it. I think they probably still sprinkle in Unreal and maybe some other engines where it makes sense.
Sure.
Unity is one that some of these big companies still occasionally use. It does serve its purpose. Although, Unity had a lot of problems in the last several years, so I wonder if that's going to continue to
Yeah.
diminish. Um, but yeah, I'm always curious about this side of things. I'm not a game developer. I don't know how game developers necessarily feel about this. Um, but I can put myself in their shoes and be like, what would I want to do with my career if I was working on this stuff? And it's probably, if I'm not someone who's like a sicko who likes to make my own engines, I know those
Mhm.
people are out there, and I think that's cool. And they, if that's every game you're going to make your own engine, neat. That's awesome. You should do that. But that's one thing. I think for the most part, people who are like designing games want to have their skills be transferable.
Yeah.
And so they don't mind the fact that there was some standardization in this industry that just really has a skewed standardization for a long time, at least on the front of the tools that you're going to be using.
Yeah.
Might not be the same from one company to the other. That is less true than it's ever been.
This may sound like a slight grub, but a lot of Bandai Namco's, a certain portion of their games are anime arena fighters that all
Yep.
feel the same.
Yes.
Behind the back style fighting games. And perhaps maybe that engine, if they were using Unreal for those games, it could be streamlined in such a way that works better for them to, I don't want to say churn out more of them, but perhaps be able to improve upon them, or maybe just use or yeah, exploit the system in their own engine in a way that better serves those style of games than Unreal could or would.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's probably some of the thinking here is that they know a lot of the kinds of games they have made that they will continue to make, and they're probably like looking at the numbers even and be like, if we can get the costs down here because we're using our own engine, all these games that we know are going to sell around this number because they just have this built-in audience, and
Yeah.
as long as they're like somewhat decent in quality or just kind of what people expect,
Yeah.
we can make X more dollars, and it's probably that simple.
Bandai Namco, make an anime arena fighter of Hamtaro, please.
And then also Power Rangers. Jan,
Ah,
people are asking for you to do a Blight Club, and I did find a Power Rangers game for the 3DS that's really bad. But I don't
well,
know when we'd
the thing
ever
is, I just produce the shows. I can't be on it,
exactly. I know it's.
like
And I'm like, maybe if we ever do one of those PAX things again, maybe you get in there, you lose. I got your game ready in case that ever happens.
which can you tell
Uh,
me? I won't look up the game, but can you tell me which
yeah.
season of Power Rangers it is?
Is Mega Force a name of a season?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. It's
I
that.
don't like these guys. These are anyway. Okay. I won't investigate.
Yep, it's all good. Okay, let's keep going here. Saber Interactive announces port management simulation game. That is in like an actual port. Docked is the name of the game. It's coming to PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. This is from Sal Romano at Gamatsu. This looks like them taking like the ideas they've developed in stuff like Roadcraft and Mud Runners and stuff like that, and applying it to just slightly different variations of using big machines. It is You're going to be taking big containers off of ships and slapping that shit on dirt, and it just looks hot as hell. Saber Interactive has announced port management simulation game docked for PS5, Xbox, and PC. A release date was not announced. Here's an overview of the game. Docked is a simulation game where you play as a longshoreman rebuilding and expanding your father's dock after a hurricane. That sounds very familiar to the Mud Runner games and Roadcraft. Key features include port wake calls, which involve precision vehicle management. Yeah. Signing contracts. Yeah. Making cargo runs. Yeah. And equipment repairs. Oh, yeah. You'll operate vital materials, you'll operate powerful machinery like cranes and tractors to fulfill contracts and deliver vital materials. The game also focuses on earning, investing, and expanding your operation by acquiring new machinery, upgrading facilities, and conquering business milestones to rebuild Port Wake. I obviously put it in here because Dad Game give it to me. But also, Saber Interactive continues to surprise me with their breadth of what they're capable of. They are the ones that did make that Space Marine 2 game that everyone really did enjoy. They have made Roadcraft. They made the World War Z game. They are capable of a lot of different kinds of games, and I'm just like, you know what? The mid-range game is not back, but it's also not dead because we do have Saber kind of out there doing their thing. delivering stuff that feels like, no, this is a good game. It feels like Midway, feels like good THQ, good Ubisoft. And I'm just like pleased when I see that this is something like they continue to announce new games, and I have faith in them because for the most part they've delivered. Now, Jen, is it possible that inside that publisher it is somewhat of a mill, a factory, not necessarily like a game mill, but like it feels like a big machine that you're a part of, and you're just pumping these games out? Maybe. I don't know how much artistic fulfillment some people are getting, like maybe making some of these games. I bet it's still pretty good, but I
Yeah.
bet there's some people who are like, hey, this is just not my environment. But for me, I get relieved when I see that there's still a studio and publisher out
Yes.
there who's capable of these kinds of games.
Yeah, Grub, there has to be the video game developer equivalent sicko of yourself, parentheses
Yeah,
positive, that wants to make these experiences for gamers, I guess. Also, there has to be for as many people for as much as we poo poo joke about these style simulation games. There's also like a large audience of people that like really get into the sim aspect of some of these,
yeah.
whether it's I don't know if it's the farm simulator, but or the train simulator games, but a lot of people do kind of go into autopilot, and this becomes their zen style of game. Um, and hey, there is some artistic value for preserving and kind of like platforming a blue collar job like this. Like,
Hmm.
we can joke about this as much as possible. This can become like a weird streamer game for like a hot minute, but like, hey, you know what? I'm glad that the dockers out there are being represented and they can dock together.
Yeah, everyone should dock together. I am like I've been reading a lot about early computers and early electronics, and there's this idea of the sampling theory of like how we are capable of reproducing analog signals without taking the entire analog signal, which would be way too massive for a digital signal, by just sampling it at a certain frequency. Usually, that's like double the frequency that the sound. That's why I learned why we have 44.1 megahertz or whatever is gigahertz in Audacity. It's because the human ear hears at about 22,000 gigahertz or megahertz, whatever it is, hertz. And so you double if you sample that at the double rate, you can recreate what people hear, and that's what MP3s are. Now, when video games are like a very different kind of concept of that idea, where we can sample various like tasks or physical realities and sort of let people recreate them and experience them in a way that's like close. It's not perfect because we can't like sample some of these things at
Yeah.
double the rate according to the perfect sampling theory. But it's like we get to kind of experience what the dock job is a little bit like if we just sample certain aspects of it, and you get the idea. And it's definitely something I'm like, oh yeah, this is maybe one of the magic things about video games is it can give people this opportunity to live these other lives in a really cool way.
And for what
All
it's
right.
worth,
Yeah.
Grub, I know that video games and VR things are treated, they're still kind of mistreated in like the workplace.
Oh yeah.
But there's some type of training capabilities you can look at, and perhaps there are. I'm curious to see if there are any people that checked out Train Simulator, Farming Simulator, any of these simulation games, and actually transitioned into those careers. I know that that
Yep.
percentage is probably very, very small, probably single digit.
It's probably more frequent than you think about, though, right?
That'd be cool. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Like, there's someone that really has a knack for uh, docking or any of these other simulation games that we've mentioned, and they're like, you know what? I could make good money doing this.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that was the story of that Gran Turismo movie, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Guy played a bunch of that and became a real driver.
You could have your own movie based off of you from
Okay.
docking.
Yeah. Yeah. Become a longshoreman, become a docker. Yeah. Uh, let's keep moving here. Saber, let's stick with them. The new Jurassic Park survival game is got a behind the scenes video that shows off the game's timeline, placement, characters, and more. Really, it's kind of just signs of life for this game that we haven't heard about in a
Yeah.
little bit. And them coming out and being like, here's behind the scenes, here's some gameplay. Here's us talking a lot about it with Universal and Saber and how everyone's happy to be working on this project. Feels like they believe it could be a big deal. This is from Brandon Key at Screen Rant. A new Jurassic Park survival video has confirmed the game's setting details and details about the characters and more. Jurassic Park Survival was revealed in December 2023. But since then, information about the game has been sparse. Now we have a better idea of the game's place within the Jurassic Park canon. With assistance from the filmmakers and producers, Survival appears to be aiming for an authentic recreation of the look and feel of Jurassic Park, the original movie. In a new Jurassic Park Survival behind-the-scenes video, it has been confirmed that the game takes place one day after the events of the original film. Players will take control of an engine scientist named Maya Joshi from a first-person perspective and explore the original Jurassic Park. Joshi was recruited as a scientist by Dr. Henry Wu, a character from the original film. I believe he's the scientist that was like at the incubation station, right? The one that was explaining the eggs hatching. The new 6-minute video details quite a lot of new information about Jurassic Park Survival. Developer Saber Interactive stated players will be able to explore Jurassic Park for the first time. Creative director Oliver Hollis Leak described the project as a huge responsibility because the film stands out as a landmark moment in cinema. Yeah. Again, not a ton of details here, but I did watch this video. I'm curious about this game even before Trespasser was happening to me. And I am getting the sense that it's coming together. Like, It is going to be that game that we kind of hoped it would be when we first saw the trailer. The trailer was like, okay, first-person action-adventure game where, like, you are going to be exploring Jurassic Park, trying to avoid the dinosaurs, and then occasionally you'll be on something like a train and, you know, hopping from one cart to the next. So it's going to have real action. It looked promising, but it was also easy to be like, okay, we've seen stuff like this before, and it doesn't really work, doesn't really come together. But they seem confident in it. And again, I'm in a good place with where I think Saber is at, and I think they could probably deliver on this. What are your hopes for a Jurassic Park Survival?
Grubb, Mike actually pointed this out during Blake Club yesterday, but there is kind of a lack in dinosaur video games in general. Yeah. So I would like more entries into that like wider genre of games for that to be good. Also, contrary to what a lot of people online will say, I enjoyed that last Jurassic World movie with ScarJo. It was
I did not watch it.
It was completely fine, and I would almost say okay. But hey, my movie tastes may skew a certain way. So I wouldn't mind another Jurassic Park game. If Jurassic Park, what is this one called? Dan? Survival,
or yeah, I think it's Jurassic Park Survival.
Survival has the same level of imagination as even Trespasser did, because Trespasser, for as odd of a game as it is doing a lot of out there things that were ahead of its time. That'd be great. Also, it's cool to see that this isn't in developmental hell and that it isn't in a lurch. Right. Because did we see this last year or 2 years ago?
God, I think it was. Maybe it was last year. Either way, it's probably been like 2 years because it feels like it's been a little bit longer than that. So yeah, it's been a moment, and you can expect to be like, okay, if we don't hear about it again soon, there's probably some issues going on, or it's just going to take a long time, the way games do. It sounds like maybe this game could come out in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah. I'm always in for more dinosaurs.
Yep, me too. So Saber, again, you know, they're making this game very busy. We've talked about they're making the dock game. They're also making Turok Origins, that Hellraiser revival game, which is not an asymmetrical multiplayer game. It's another single-player survival horror game. They're making John Carpenter's Toxic Commando, Busbound, a bus simulator game, which, hell yeah, let's go.
Hey.
Painkiller, they are helping with that, actually. I don't think they're necessarily, I think that's 3D Realms working on that in primary. Let's see. The Nightling is a game they got coming out this month. That they're a publisher as well, but I think they are helping with that. They're just busy. They got a lot of games, and like even more than that, probably in the works. That Turok Origins game, another one I'm very, very curious to see. Like I can't believe they're bringing back Turok. Very cool to see. All right, Jim, let's take a break. We'll come back, talk about more headlines. People could skip on this if they go to giantbomb.com/premium or /join and become a premium member. Let's go to the break right now. This episode of Giant Bomb is brought to you by giantbomb.com/join. Join us there, become a member. It helps us make fun stuff. It gets you ad-free content. It also helps us make some extras here and there that we'll give exclusively to you as members. It's giantbomb.com/join for $10 a month or $100 a year, where you save $20. You could support us in making all the cool stuff that we make over here at Giant Bomb. Once again, that's giantbomb.com/join. Become a member now. All right, we're back for Game Mess Mornings. Jeff Grubb, Jan Ochoa. Let's continue going through the headlines with Tekken 8 on Switch 2 would be, quote, a lot of work, but the director isn't ruling it out. This is from Jim Norman at Nintendo Life. The Switch 2 release schedule is already home to a bunch of ports that never would have been possible on Switch 1, and we can only assume that this will continue for years to come. One title that's been eyed for the new hybrid is Tekken 8, but that's not to say the game's director hasn't thought about it. In a new interview with Eurogamer, director Katsuhiro Harada confessed that Bandai Namco's latest fighter on Switch 2 is an interesting option and not totally off the table, but it sounds like it would be far from a simple port. It would require a lot of work on the game to get it running on that hardware, Harada continued. From a business standpoint, Switch 2 is doing quite well, so it would be a very good business decision if you're trying to get a bigger audience, the director mapped out. But the amount of work that would have to be done on the game makes it a not easy decision. I do wonder, like, not easy decision probably because it's a lot of work, and also it's like, yeah, it's a big audience, but how much heat is there around Tekken 8, and will like the Switch 2 audience be able to be like receptive to that if they're hearing from people on other platforms that they're not too hot on Tekken 8 at the moment? Now, I think in this interview or somewhere else, he said, like, the negativity around Tekken 8 maybe sounds louder than it actually is. I don't know if that's just something that he needs to tell himself. It does seem like it's pretty sour from the outside looking in, but I don't know. So yeah, do you think there's a chance they do this, and do you think it'd be worth it?
I definitely think it would be worth it, Grubb. I mean, just seeing those install numbers, or those sales numbers rather, of the Switch 2, it seems like if I was a third-party developer, I would want to see if it was possible to put my games out on the Switch 2. That's also like I'm sure that is probably an untapped audience as well for a lot of fighting games, just because people picking up the Switch 1 may not necessarily be into something like Tekken. But the Mortal Kombat game, Mortal Kombat 1, didn't that have decent success and sales on the Switch?
It definitely had enough of a profile, high enough profile, that was always news when it came out, and like, how does it run? People were curious, and I think that's the exact right comparison, Jan. That Mortal Kombat is a name that people are very familiar with, that they played when they were younger, that has cachet, and that's so that it did do well on the Switch. Tekken is probably in a similar boat. Obviously, no fighting game of that style is as big as Mortal Kombat with casuals. But Tekken clearly has that name recognition and would probably sell enough copies to justify getting the port, as long as the port isn't as much work as he's maybe suggesting here. Which, to me, this sounds like something you say when you're like kind of looking at it and you haven't started it. It just seems like everyone that has made ports for the Switch 2 have been saying it's like it's easier than you're expecting. The tools are really good, but again, not a developer. I don't know. So if this does happen, it's probably a couple years away still, at least a year away. But that does give them enough time, because when did Tekken 8 come out? That was like within the last 3 years, right?
Yeah.
So we're quite a ways away from the next Tekken. So yeah, okay. Then the timeline all works out. So do you think we might see this thing within a year or two?
I think so, and I hope that we also get the Waffle House.
Last year? Holy shit! I cannot. Timelines are completely broken for me. Thank you, chat. Last year, thank you, Sean.
I also hope we get the Waffle House level finally. That only the Switch 2 is able to deliver that. Just because people have continued to harass Harada. I don't see why, especially if the guts behind the Switch 2 is much more powerful, and he may just be kind of scarred from looking at dev kits of the Switch 1. So the Switch 2, a little bit more powerful underneath the hood. If it can power drag and drive, I don't know why it can't power Tekken 8.
That's what they're saying on the streets. That's what they're saying. I think Tekken Tag Tournament was on Wii U or something. Yeah, let's see here. Tekken Tag Tournament 2. Yeah, came to Wii U. That might be the last Tekken game that was on a Switch or on a Nintendo system, I should say. Oh yeah, was that the one that had the Mario mask for the characters, the Mario and Luigi or whatever? That's a weird one. I want to see that game. Okay, let's keep moving here. Crimson Desert delayed to Q1 2026. This is from Sal Romano at Gamatsu. Pearl Abyss has delayed open world action adventure game Crimson Desert from its previously planned late 2025 release window to Q1 2026. For people that don't remember, this is that open world action adventure game that just looks really, really good. And people are like, wait, is this real? Is this game really going to look that way? Well, we still aren't going to be able to tell until next year now. Before the Q&A session, this is a quote now, I would like to first share an update on the development status and release schedule of Crimson Desert, which many of you have been curious about, Pearl Abyss said in its Q2 2025 earnings conference call. Currently, Crimson Desert has been in the process of voiceovers while also carrying out tasks such as console certification in preparation for its release. In the case of marketing, we plan to participate in Gamescom and PAX West this August to showcase our open world build. And in September, we will join the Tokyo Game Show to strengthen our marketing efforts in the Japanese market. The launch of Crimson Desert, our first large-scale AAA console game, has been unavoidably delayed by 1 quarter from the previously announced schedule. This is due to longer than expected timelines arising from schedule coordination and collaborations with multiple partners for offline distribution, voiceovers, console certification, and other launch preparations. We sincerely apologize for not being able to meet the originally promised fourth quarter launch schedule, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I think that this sounds plausible to me. Like your first time making a console game, not knowing what that last few months are going to be like, not knowing what to expect from console certification and actually distributing a game physically. I bet these are the problems. Yeah. But boy, this is a game I would like to really get hands on and see what it really looks like, because it is impressive from a visual standpoint.
I just pulled up a gameplay video, Grubb, and then some wizards just evaporated, and then the main character jumped off a cliff and it is now like a raven octopus man gliding around.
Right?
So
there's a lot going on.
I want to play Crimson Desert, and I want to see if this is a real thing. But yes, of course, the console certification stuff is probably like a major roadblock if your primary experience developing and publishing a game is mostly on PC, where some of the guardrails are lowered, and there are more specific things on consoles.
People did get a chance to try this at SGF. I remember Jesse Norris told me he went hands on with it, and I remember him being impressed. I remember the people I did talk to that played this game being like, you know what, this was one of the coolest things I saw at the show. Now, of course, those always could be smoke and mirrors and taped together and stuff like that. But also, we've seen developers come out of nowhere or come from mobile or other spaces, make their first big AAA console blockbuster, and it usually really work or pop off, because it's like, oh, it turns out these experiences do transfer in a lot of ways. But we'll see. I'm the way I talk about Saber, that's the same way I feel about developers from Asian regions being like, hey, we want to make console games too. A lot of us grew up playing console games.
Yeah,
we want to make those because we think that's awesome. And then they make an awesome console game. So I want to see more of that. And I think that this is a trend that will continue. And I think Crimson Desert's likely the next one to really pop off if they can just deliver a pretty good quality game.
Yeah, going off of what you mentioned, Grubb, Scrub and Grubb reminds me in the chat. Stellar Blade and Liza P, those developers come from a mobile background. And Liza P was one of my favorite games of that year. Very solid Souls-like. If you're looking for one of those, I need to check out that DLC.
I would like to watch you play some of that. That'd be cool if we could do that sometime. Okay, so Crimson Desert delayed to Q1 2026. Next story, Zelda movie account reminds people that Sony is making it, and that's a bit weird for some. This is from Eddie McHugh at GameSpot. The official The Legend of Zelda movie account has appeared on social media, and Nintendo fans are pointing out how strange it is that Sony Pictures seems to be running the account. But there is a simple and understandable reason for this. The page follows just two accounts, Sony Pictures and PlayStation. It doesn't follow any accounts related to Nintendo, which of course created the Legend of Zelda franchise and develops the games. The account is likely linked to Sony because Sony Pictures itself is co financing and producing the film, with Sony Pictures handling the theatrical distribution of the movie. Nintendo is financing more than 50% of the cost, and I think Sony's handling the rest. Given Sony Pictures is distributing the movie, it stands to reason that it might have control of the account. For its part, Nintendo has made announcements about the movie, like the cast reveal via the Nintendo account. This is mostly just like, oh yeah, that's right, and that is weird. Sony Pictures is making, or Sony's making Zelda. It was a fun thing to say, and that's
Yeah.
what's happening here. But yeah, just a weird oddity of how this is being produced, right?
Very weird oddity. Sony Pictures has always been interesting when it comes to their films. Sony in general, as well when it comes to movies and their approach to them. That is, it's not odd to me that Sony is making the Zelda film. It is odd that the social accounts are only following PlayStation and Sony. It seems like a purposeful oversight of, oh no, we forgot to follow Nintendo. Oops.
Yeah, I almost wonder if it's like the person that opened the account
Yeah.
was just like, this is one of them video games, right? So we'll follow Sony Pictures. That's where I work, and we'll follow Sony PlayStation. That's the video game side. So we're good.
Yeah.
And like something basic like that could have happened here. Or this is just their standard practice for when they're doing something like this.
It makes me wonder if they have like a bunch of dormant accounts, Grubb, that
Yes.
they're ready to switch the name of for a new upcoming project, and all of them already, or they just follow PlayStation and Sony.
Right, and they're already like pre-verified, like they've already worked with all these platforms, like Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Instagram would be the kind of place where like that would go a long way because if you have that relationship to get your stuff verified there, yeah, you can spread that out across Threads and a bunch of other Facebook stuff. So yeah, it's probably something very basic and along those lines. Still weird to follow PlayStation. It's just weird to see the Zelda account following PlayStation because PlayStation doesn't have anything to do with this movie.
Oh.
It's Sony Pictures, Sony Corporation. PlayStation's over there, but it's following PlayStation. Again, I just think that's a weird artifact of just how these social media things end up working. Okay, last story here. PlayStation Plus Extra / Premium games for August 2025 include this day one release. This is from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. A new batch of games are headed to the PlayStation Plus game catalog this month, and if you're looking to revisit a city filled with infected zombies from the PS1 era, protect the realms with fisticuffs, or experience something delightfully odd, then there's a lot to look forward to. These games will be available through the PlayStation Plus game catalog starting August 19th. PlayStation Plus premium subscribers can also grab a game trial of Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, the latest title from Hideo Kojima and his studio Kojima Productions. You'll be able to experience up to 5 hours of gameplay with this time-limited trial, and progress will carry over if you decide to purchase the full game. Several games will also be leaving the PS Plus game catalog in August, as The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and 12 other titles will be removed from the service when it's refreshed with new games. As a reminder, all PS Plus subscribers can also claim new games in August, as Lies of P, DayZ, and My Hero 1's Justice 2 are all available until the September 1st cutoff date. Okay, so here are the games that will be in the PS Plus catalog, which I think is good for everyone who's in PS Plus, no matter what tier you're in, and that includes Mortal Kombat 1, Marvel's Spider-Man. And that, you'll get the improved PS5 version, so it's not just like the old PS4 version or something like that. Sword of the Sea is a day one release for PS Plus. It's the next game from Journey art director Matt Nava, billed as an atmospheric surfing adventure, mastering the high-speed hover sword across a vast land. Imagine Journey meets Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, is how it's described.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'll check out a day one release. It sounds cool from one of the people that helped with Journey. Let's do that. Earth Defense Force 6 is coming as well. That was released last year. It's the PS5 and PS4 versions as well here. Earth Defense Force is, I check out one of those like every 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like good enough for me. They're like the low fidelity, a million bugs on the screen. You take your bazooka and you shoot them all. It's really fun with a friend. And it looks janky on purpose. It's just completely in its wheelhouse. I like me in an Earth Defense Force. Unicorn Overlord,
Hey.
Atelier Riza 3, Alchemist of the End, and the Secret Key. That's all one name. That's also included. Indica, Harold Halibut, Coral Island. Those are all the games that will be in the PS Plus catalog. And then if you are a premium subscriber, you also get some classic games. Resident Evil 2. This is the PS1 version that was like re-released on PS5 and PS4, and Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Those both will be in PS Plus Premium.
Go check out Indica if you are a lapsed Catholic or Christian.
Yeah, I always meant to check that out. It was one of Lucy's favorite game that year. I never ended up playing a moment of it, but heard nothing but good things about it. Let's do a check-in, Jan. How you feeling about PS Plus right now? Is it something that you're actively subscribed to? I did cancel my premium the last time I was going to get that charge of $170. That's the annual cost for premium. That's expensive. It's a lot of money, and I don't use it very frequently. So my plan was to cancel, and the next time I need to play a game online on the PlayStation, I'll re-up at that moment, and that has not occurred since then. So I don't have it. I can't remember where you. I think you might not have it either.
I don't have it either.
Yeah.
When we were doing the Tony Hawk stream for UPF, I had to re-up PlayStation Plus because I forgot that you need PlayStation Plus to play online games. And at this point in 2025, it just seems like such an archaic thing to have to do.
Yeah, that really can't be that long for this world. I suppose it could be, but I guess with I got in trouble with a lot of PlayStation fanboys who hated this idea that one day Microsoft would get rid of the paywall for online multiplayer. But if that that was something that is on their roadmap and always has been, but things changed at Microsoft, so who knows what that looks like now. Although, if the next Xbox really is going to be just a PC with an Xbox wrapper on it, you can't charge for multiplayer, right? For that.
No.
It doesn't work anymore because it's a PC. You can't charge for multiplayer on PC. Like that would be a bridge way too far. The pitchforks would come out. It would be bad.
Unless whatever live service, or not live service, Xbox Live equivalent in this newer console is just bundled in with Game Pass, that there's some kind of incentive, which is what it feels like PlayStation Plus is honestly headed towards, of like, hey, you have to buy this to play online games, so we're going to give you all this other stuff in addition to that.
Yeah, totally. That's 1,000,000% how they try to make it work.
But if it is going to be more of a PC-like experience where it is kind of going to be more open, it is going to be very difficult to charge people to play online games.
Yep. I kind of want to see how that plays out. In the meantime, I'll get PS Plus again when I need it. In the meantime, I do not.
Yeah, Grubb. I'm trying to think if there's a multiplayer game that I cannot play on the PC that I can only do on a PS5, and there isn't much. So I don't feel the need to go check to resubscribe and re-up to PlayStation Plus.
Tucketus Maximus in chat is reminding me you need PS Plus for cloud saves, which is a bummer. That was Mitchy Poo's as well. I get it. Like, I get why they put that behind a paywall. It's like you're using one of our online services, so we're gonna charge you for that. But I guess because I canceled that, I might not have access to some of my saves. Although I'm not playing those games either.
Yeah. If I had a PlayStation Portal, I would think about it more. I hate to say how often I actually think about getting a PlayStation Portal. It's every other week, Grubb.
Those things probably get a price cut, not a cut, but a discount for Black Friday. Feels like that would be a kind of thing where it's like, hey, you have a PS5, don't forget about this thing. More reasons to play your games on PlayStation. I get it. Yeah. I use the Steam Deck to stream stuff from my PlayStation. That works really well, but you don't need any online stuff to make that happen.
Right. Yeah. Folks were just saying that I have a Steam Deck. Yes, I know. But if I didn't have a Steam Deck and I was only in that console atmosphere,
he's not bought the Portal yet. Yeah.
Don't worry, folks. I have some type of impulse control.
All right. Yeah, that's gonna be the poll question, little teaser. We're gonna ask about how people are feeling about PS Plus right now, or whether or not you have it actually. Okay, Jan, that does it for the headlines. Let's get to the poll question. This is from yesterday. Are you going to try Drag and Drive? I am going to try it on Friday when we play for UPF. Kind of looking forward to it still, even though the game's got pretty mediocre reviews, or lower than that, really, kind of in the 60 range. Mediocre these days is 70 for a game. So we asked people, are you going to play it? Are you going to try it? 8% said yes, 92% said no. This has got to be an easy skip for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't think many people are asking for yet another Rocket League competitor. If you want a game like this, you can still just go play Rocket League. So I think that people looking at this and be like, that 8% sounds to me like people thinking, I just bought a Switch 2. I might as well try another new game for it. But man, this game probably would have gone a lot further if it was part of a pack-in suite of stuff that included something similar to my, not Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour and things along those lines. It's standing on its own. It's going to make it, look really tough to compete in this market, right?
Yeah, I can't imagine that there are 10-year-olds out there clamoring to play Drag and Drive to become pros at it, to slam their father's coworkers in a couple years. This definitely does feel like it should have been a pack-in game with another game, Grubb. A lot of people in the comments of this poll are just not negative on the game, but just echoing our sentiment, and also perhaps that it may be too gimmicky. The thing that is off-putting for me, though, Grubb, is that Nintendo just doesn't want to call them wheelchairs.
Yeah, they don't like it when you call them wheelchairs,
which feels worse, which feels bad.
Yeah. Now I guess recently, like very recently, apparently, and someone said this, so I don't know if this is true, but someone said that Nintendo's been like, well, they're wheelchair inspired. So what the fuck are you talking about, sir? That is a wheelchair, and why are you making it weird by just not saying it's a wheelchair? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
weird company.
Sean points it out, but this is one of the weirder things that Nintendo has done. Because I don't know, to not say that they're wheelchairs kind of denies the existence of folks in wheelchairs, and that sucks. As someone that has a close friend that has to use one, that stinks.
Yep, wheelchairs are cool. You should be proud that you are using wheelchairs. That's
you
a cool
could pop a wheelie at any moment.
And when I was in a wheelchair for a little bit after an injury, I would go everywhere around the house, popping a wheelie, just nonstop, minutes at a time. Good, cool stuff. Wheelchairs are cool, and they should be proud of it. Okay, that does it for the poll question. We have a new poll question we'll get to here in a second. Before we do that, Jan, let's tell people what's happening on Giant Bomb. Today is Thursday. It's Voicemail Dump Truck.
That's right. There's still some time to get your calls in, folks. 707 exit flu. On top of that, we've had a lot of stuff popping off this week, Grubb. Each week, I don't know what we're gonna do, but we wind up doing what feels like too much for the size of a team we have. Sean, I believe, is deep in the editing minds. Sean may be dropping another Evo interview today or maybe tomorrow. If you missed the one that Sean dropped earlier this week, I suggest you go check that out. You can see Sean's calves as well, if that interests you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Definitely.
On top of that, Derek Stone edited together another best of for us. Shouts out to Derek. It is the best of Pimp My Reichert. And gang, if you missed Blight Club yesterday, you missed out on something, because it was something else. It's very good stuff.
I will say that there was a time in my Blight Club career where I criticized Mike and Dan's ability to choose games. They've been on something of a roll. Even Daikatana, I look back on and I'm like, that was a pretty good choice.
Don't say that, Grubb. Don't say that.
No, I liked it so much they shouldn't give me Daikatana 64. And then Overblood was quite good and for a Blight Club game in terms of like, oh, it's entertaining to watch. And this has been, I might actually like this game.
Oh no!
Like it's so frustrating, and it is a bad game. But I can't stop thinking about it. It's it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
It's neat, and that's the only good thing you should really say about it, because the execution is just so terrible on every front. It was quite an episode. People should go check it out. A lot of positive comments, a lot of positive feedback about it. So
also, I'd be remiss if we didn't shout him out. Also, Jerem, fantastic work on the art as well.
Oof, it's so good. I didn't see it until actually the show was over, because I hadn't seen it up to that point, and then I wasn't looking at chat or the video. So seeing it later was just like, oh my god, this is so good. Jerem, really great work. All right. Yep. So lots of stuff to check out. Go to giantbomb.com to keep up with all of it. You can also check out our YouTube page. We put everything up on there.
And for the premium folks that have not tried it out yet, please go check out the premium site beta. Chuck has been hard at work. enormousexplosive.com. It has all of the functionality that the current website has. We're just trying to stress test it, check some things out. There's a lot of neat bells and whistles. It does not have the wiki right now, but you can still watch streams completely fine. Watch all the existing library of things. If there's anything missing from the premium video side, that is on me, and I'm slowly uploading them, folks. Apologies.
On me, on we. All right, new poll question. Do you have PlayStation Plus? Yes, premium. Yes, extra. Yes, basic. I don't know what the basic tier is called. I'm just going to say that. Maybe that's just called plus. And then no is your final option there. That poll is up now. You can hop up onto Giant Bomb's page on YouTube. Community tab or post tab. I can never remember what it's called now. Post now? Okay. Go to the post tab. You'll find it there. You can vote. We'll get the results. Talk about it on Game Mess Mornings tomorrow, which I'm looking forward to doing. Wrapping up the week. Lots of fun stuff still happening on the website.
Tomorrow, a new Bomb 12.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that is one I want to remind everybody. Still time, but this is like basically your last call to get your submission in for the Bomb 12, which will end the week on Game Mess Mornings tomorrow. If you want to have your say on like what games matter right now, you can. You just got to go to giantbomb.com. Look for the blog post. It's the last blog post for the most recent Bomb 12. In there is a link to a form. You go to that form, you submit your game, and then I will factor that into what ends up into the Bomb 12 tomorrow. Yep, we'll put out one more call for it on social media. So keep your eyes open if you're traveling, you can't check out the website for some reason. I'll let you guys know. All right, Jan, I think that wraps up the show. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
It's the only way to start a Thursday, Grubb.
Thank you all for watching and listening. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.